Lately in our community has dealt with an amazing amount of sadness, and everybody has a tragic story close to them besides everything that we've gone through as a community lately. I'm sure a lot of us have been asking ourselves how we can prevent these kind of things from happening, just in general. I'd like to make a point that a lot of these sad stories that we hear and are part of these days usually start off at a very early age. And if you want to prevent them from happening, you need to slip those preventative measures into an everyday routine. Do these symptoms sound familiar? Difficulty concentrating and forgetfulness. Impaired ability to plan, organize, and concentrate. Social isolation. Heightened sensitivity to criticism. The development of anxiety disorders or ADD. These are symptoms found in the classroom related to depression in students. Many students are suffering from some form of depression during their school years in this day and time. Today, 5 to 8 times as many high school and college students meet the criteria for anxiety disorders and major depression. That's a scarily climbing rate. Something needs to be done about this, I think. And I think that there needs to be a good environment in schools for children to work out their emotions in and show that they need help. And I personally think that art curriculums do this best. A sculptor named Magdala Akanowicz said, "Art does not solve problems, but makes us aware of their existence." And I absolutely agree, and I think it hits the nail on the head for this. Extracurricular activities are a great place for this to happen, but many students can't participate in after-school activities because of time constraints, responsibilities at home, or simple lack of drive, which, as aforementioned, is a sign of depression. Having an activity that is integrated into the school day is a great way to get this done. And encourages students to participate because they're already in school, they have to. And when one thinks of activities that they get to participate in during a school day, you can think of sports. But I'm not going to talk about sports because while exercising and sports are an important part of everybody's daily and healthy life, sports programs rarely have the same problems keeping their programs afloat or struggle in the ways that art and music programs seem to always struggle that I can't seem to understand. Art programs have been proven to help students in all of these ways. Being involved in the arts is associated with gains in math, reading, concentration, cognitive ability, critical thinking, verbal skills, and a plethora of other positive benefits. As I've personally experienced in my own art department at my high school, the arts bring people out of their shell in unique ways. I would not be who I am today without my art program, and I'm just one of the many success stories related to the continuation of arts in school. Art therapists say that a huge aspect of art as a healer is that it helps people who usually find it hard to speak about their problems open up and strengthen their communication skills. It allows for introspection without talking, and therefore just by doing art, the person is engaging in a form of self-therapy. It helps for talk therapists to have some training in art therapy because the process of exploring problems that the person doesn't feel comfortable initially talking about openly by showing their therapist bridges an unbefore-bridge gap, therefore helping dig deeper in further discussions without making the person feel uncomfortable. With both help and emotional and academic skills, art continually plugged into the school day will help students stay happier and more alert. If every school had a thriving art program, all children would be guaranteed an outlet. They would have the opportunity to express themselves, and since everyone took art classes regularly, the harder to crack students might be a bit more open to the idea. Schools could participate in big class and even student body-wide events and art projects to help create a sense of community, and that way students would feel more comfortable coming to each other for help as well. And the sense of community is very important in helping peers deal with anxieties and depressions and so on and so forth. Between the students' ability to express themselves and school teachers and counselors getting additional warning signs through the stories children tell in their art, a heightened sense of camaraderie brought to the schools through large group art projects, the classroom should be a happier place with arts. Depression, anxiety, and other social and internal problems for students will be addressed more often and won't have to be addressed as much because students will have a new outlet and they won't be appearing as much. They won't have these depressions and anxieties. They can use the information they learn from school and bring the outlet home with them as well. Art can travel, and the ability to work through their emotions with a pencil paintbrush or getting their hands dirty in something is something that will help regulate their entire lives. However, walking up to the principal and telling them there needs to be more arts in schools won't protect painting and ceramic classes in high school. The arts need funding and support, and it needs to be worked for, because many people who represent schools these days aren't getting as involved as they should be. Did you know that UC used to have a darkroom for fine arts photography? That was only a couple years ago, and if the art department got together and asked the community for funding, there might be a chance to have this back again. I know students who refused to come to the school because they didn't have fine arts photography. And that's just one of many. They didn't even want to be a photographer. It was just something that grounded them so much, and they needed in their everyday life. And especially after the No Child Left Behind Act, the concentration has been on test scores and the academic classes involved in raising those test scores. That means art classes are the first ones to be cut, and this environment is being severely threatened. Parents of students who believe in the arts, perhaps all of your parents, might get involved in their school's politics and show their support by voting on when budget votes come around. Just like everything, people need to speak up and make their voices heard. If we continue to fight for to keep a place for the arts in the school day, we will see happier children, we'll have a heightened sense of camaraderie. If we let the arts die out, I could see depression continuing to rise in school-age students like it has been, since the focus has started being placed entirely on science and math classes. There's no reason for arts not to be part of an everyday class schedule. It can only be good.